Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us today, she is a 25-time All-American for the NC State Wolfpack. She's an NCAA champion, and most recently, she is a 2024 Paris Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist in the 100 back, and Olympic champion in the 400 medley relay. Today, we are sitting down with Katharine Berkoff. Katharine, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be here.
This episode of the Swim Swam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, Swim Swam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. Here right now for you is at home in Montana. Tell me about being home. How is it? How long have you been there? And what have you gotten up to since being back in your home state?
I've been here for almost a month now and just been hanging out a lot with family, going on lots of trips to the rivers and creeks around. It's so nice. This is like one of the best times of year. It's a little unfortunate right now because it's super smoky, so can't do a lot of outside stuff, but it's gonna cool off this week. Hopefully rain and make the fires not so bad, but it's been really nice being home, and I'm only home for a few more days, but I'm definitely ready to get back training and stuff.
Yeah. Have you swam at all while you've been home?
No, not yet. I think I might go this week. I've been lifting, but I just wanted to make sure I got a really good break because my next like real focus meet isn't for a long time. So, but I'm excited to get back training, but this break has been really good.
Yeah. When is the last time you had a break this long from swimming?
Maybe, I mean, I've done like 4 weeks each summer, or I
Okay.
guess the past 2 summers, but I think I've done 5. So I guess COVID would be the last time I took this much time off swimming,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
only other time in my life. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's a while,
Mhm.
which seems great. And then do you know what your next big focus meet will be?
Um, Probably World Championship trials. I mean,
Mhm.
I think I'll probably get invited to Worlds this winter, and I would like to go to that too, but, that's just compared to I'm more focused on long course now, but it will be fun to have a little short course opportunity just because I haven't done short course meters in a long time. I feel like I'd be pretty good at it, so I'm excited to get a chance at that.
Yeah. I obviously, as a fan, I just love watching American athletes get to compete in short course meters because it's a forum in which there is not a lot of racing opportunities in the US, obviously, and yards is so predominant, but that is exciting. When is the last time you raced short course meters?
Short course Worlds in 2021.
Okay.
So it's been a really long time, and I was so nervous because I didn't know what to expect, like, with my turn timing and stuff, but it was not a very challenging adjustment, so I'm not really worried anymore. Like, that's out the window. Just it's all fun now.
The confidence is high. That was a weird meet, though.
It was super weird. I was so stressed the whole time. I don't think I ever adjusted to that time zone. I slept, like, 4 hours a night, and I was so scared of getting COVID and getting stuck there for Christmas. It was not very fun for me, but it was a good experience.
I couldn't have summed up I went to that meet and I couldn't have summed up my experience more accurately than that. Like I think we had mirror experiences. I didn't sleep more than 4 hours a night. I was afraid of getting COVID the whole time. I mean, my swam was like, you're actually coming home 2 days early because we really don't want you to get COVID.
That's what
Uh,
happened with a lot of our athletes too. They got sent home early.
yeah, it was a wild time.
I'm so
But
glad we're not in that.
yeah, yeah, and Budapest, I feel like the time zone is probably a little more is a little easier to adjust to. Don't have to worry about getting sick as much. I think that'll be probably a nicer meet. I think it's a little further out from Christmas too, which is nice.
Yeah, hopefully that would be really nice. Yeah, I think I've always been fine at adjusting to like European time zones, and I think part of the problem was we landed at 1 a.m. when we went to Abu Dhabi, so I had to go straight to sleep, but I couldn't. I was like, "Nope, I'm awake. It's daytime
Right.
actually."
Yeah. Yeah, that one was a tough time zone. But do you I don't exactly know how the selection process works for short course worlds in terms of event selection, but do you think you would try to go for the 50 back or the 200 back or maybe some free relays? Do you have any, goals of what you would want to swim there?
Yeah, I mean, if they would let me, I'd swim whatever they let me swim, but I I'm imagining I'll probably do a 50, 100 back and hopefully some freestyle relays. My short course freestyle is a lot better than my long course right now. Hopefully I'll develop that in these next few years, but yeah, right now I feel like I've made a good case for my short course free. It would be nice to be put on some relays.
Agreed. I mean, I feel like that's one of the more fun meets to swim relays at too. Like there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot of expectation. It's just kind of fun. There's a lot of turns.
Mhm.
Why not?
Yeah, it's like a short course meet with people you never get to compete with, which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah, and you get medals, which
Mhm.
is always good. Um, in terms of your long course focus and development, I like that you brought up your freestyle because it seems like you have put more effort or more stock into developing that long course freestyle. Did you feel that way this summer, and especially kind of coming off of NC2As into the spring, knowing that trials was coming up? Was freestyle more of a focus for you, or were you pretty locked into that 100 backstroke?
Um, I think this year there just wasn't with me being in the NCAA season, I didn't give my freestyle enough attention. Like I've gotten the short course freestyle down, but I don't really train a lot of long course freestyle unless it's like threshold or aerobic type work. So I need to start doing like 100 pace freestyle, and I totally neglected that this spring just because me and Braden thought it was probably the best idea for me to lock in on the 100 back because it was going to be tough and there's a lot of 100 backstrokers, and I'd rather know for a fact that I feel like 100% I should make the team than question and be like, ''Maybe I'll make it, and then if not, I'll have this to fall back on.'' But also the schedule was really, like, sucky for a 100 backstroke, 100 freestyler, like, especially I mean, NCAs, you're used to racing every session, but the summer's different, and, I just wasn't interested in doing 100 free prelims before my 100 back final. I was like, "It's just gonna mess with my head." I don't like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Was that an overlap?
It was like
Ugh.
100 back prelims, semis, then next morning, 100 free prelims, then 100 back final, 100 free semifinal. And for me to make the final in the 100 free, I kinda at this point, I really need to be on my game because my best time isn't fast enough yet. So, I don't think it would've been a good idea. It's just we made the best choice for this year, I think.
And it obviously paid off. Did you swim anything else at trials aside from the 100 backstroke then?
No, I signed up for the 50 free because I was like, "Maybe," but even thinking about that, I was like, if I don't make the team, no way I'm swimming the 50 free. I'm not staying till the end of the meet. And if I make it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start training. So we just put it in there, but I never ended up swimming it. So I just got back to training when I was there.
Yeah. Do How does it feel going into an Olympic trials, putting all of your eggs in one basket, and kind of, especially for you who have been fairly versatile, especially in the NCAA, you've always kind of had a few event options between backstroke and freestyle. You're going for an Olympic team and it's like, all right, I got one shot.
Yeah,
Let's see.
it's a ton of pressure, and especially thinking about my competitors who have a lot of opportunities, like, it's it's hard not to think about what other people are doing, but I've gotten a lot better at that this year, and I think that's something that helped me, but there's advantages and disadvantages to putting all your eggs in one basket. Like, I was able to fully perf like, I guess, kinda perfect my race more than I could have if I was doing a lot of freestyle training too, and who knows, maybe freestyle would have benefited me more too because cross training, whatever. But well, any
I know. I know.
but, I think I was able to fully focus on the 100 back, which was a good thing, but also a bad thing just because it's too much pressure. I was in the ready room before finals, and I was just thinking, like, "This isn't fun right now. I'm so nervous. I'm not having a good time." Like, I love swimming, and I love competing, but right now, right here, I'm not having a good time. This is not good. But, I got through it. Did what I needed to do. That's all that matters.
How do you feel like you reacted in that moment? Is there anything you do to try to comfort yourself in that moment, in that pre-Olympic trials final, when you are not having a good time, you're nervous, it's kind of all come down to this moment. Is there anything you do to comfort yourself, or were you happy with how you were able to get through that moment? I mean, obviously you ended up making the team, but was there any learning from that experience?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something I've been working on a lot is getting how do I, like, work through really stressful moments like that one? And, I think just trying to remember I'm as prepared as I can be in this moment, and there's nothing I can do right now except execute is really all that I am trying to play through my head, just that I'm ready and I'm there, it's happening. But, yeah, I mean, my semifinals race gave me a lot of confidence, but then I started worrying, like, what if I slip on my start? What if something crazy happens and then I'm just done? So I was, like, just trying to remind myself, "Stupid, never happens in a race," but it is it's really tough in that moment, especially remembering the emotions of 3 years ago when I didn't make it and just the how horrible it felt, like, I was so scared of feeling that again, and so I think that past experience made it much scarier, but, I do think I handled it as well as I could have in that moment, but it's definitely gonna be something I need to work on for future meets because it's not perfect yet, my mental state before I race, but it's getting better for sure.
It's getting there. So
Mhm.
then, in terms of just executing your race, you had mentioned you did a lot to try and perfect that race in the Olympic trials final in Indianapolis. Do you feel like you were able to execute that well, and what did that entail? How did you fine tune and perfect that 100 backstroke?
I think the Olympic trials final for me was, it wasn't the perfect race at all. I was super nervous, and I think it affected me at the end of the race. I really tightened up, but and it was just not, like, super clean. My start was a little flat, and that affects my speed in the first 50 a lot, but, I think I've been training so consistently well for the past few years that, I knew that even if it wasn't a perfect race, I should still go pretty quick, and, just because 'cause I've been very consistent and feeling super confident about all my workouts, but it was nice to know that it doesn't have to be perfect to be good, and, I'm just hoping that that perfect race happens at the right time someday, but, yeah, I mean, it was a good race, but not quite what I wanted, but it was still, like, I made the team, so that was the goal of the beginning part of the summer.
Yeah. How do you envision a perfect 100 backstroke race? What does that look like in your mind?
Um, it would be nice to feel like I'm back halving it, you know? That's what I used to do, and then I don't know, something happened where now every last 15 meters I'm just dying, but I think that's how most people submit.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be nice to not die. I mean, prelims of the Olympics, I felt amazing. It felt so easy, but the next one's not so much. So I don't know. It would just be nice to feel really strong the whole time and feel like I'm never dying, but you know, that's kind of not going to happen if you're
Mm.
trying your best. But yeah, it would be nice to just execute everything perfectly, like start, turn, the timing of it all. That's like the main difference I think between my races is how good my starts and turns are.
Mm. That's interesting. That
Mhm.
that there's so much swimming, but those little details make such big differences in
Yeah.
in a long course pool.
Yeah, I think just to have a good backstroke start, it carries you so well for that first 50, and if my backstroke starts a little flat, I feel like I'm not I have to work a little harder to keep up, and then I'm just more gassed at the end of the race. But, if I have that good start, it's a lot more effortless, making, like, the end easier. It's just weird, but yeah, I think when I have a good start, I usually feel like I'm gonna have a really good race.
Mm. To me, the backstroke start is one of the bigger anomalies of swimming. I have trouble even visualizing how to do one. I think I'm okay at them now, but just from a technical standpoint, what do you think contributes to a good backstroke start for you?
Um, for me, I'd say it's, like, my angle of entry, but that's mostly
Mm.
affected by my lift off of the start. If I can clear the water, it really helps me just carry a lot more speed when I enter. So that for me, that's, like, the big thing, but it's hard to be consistent, and I wish the wedges would go a little higher, because I have my wedge at the highest setting, but I'd prefer if it could be out of the water, that would be ideal, because then you're clearing the water. But, I don't know why they don't do that. I feel like that should be an update. But, yeah, I would prefer that, you know, if you're listening, World Aquatics, let's make that adjustment. But it would be nice, and, yeah, I think just the better the lift, the better my start is.
Are you able to use wedges in practice to first starts when you're working on backstroke starts?
Yeah, and that's something I never really worked on a lot until this year, and I think
Mm.
my starts have improved dramatically. I mean, my start was never bad, but it's way better now than it used to be, and I think that's just practicing it so often. So I'm gonna keep doing that so that my perfect starts just every time. That's the goal.
It's yeah, that's a great goal, and I it's funny to me now that people used to do backstroke starts without a wedge
Oh my god, I don't know
because it
how I
seems
did that.
impossible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. It really is. That is I think that is a technological advancement that has greatly benefited the sport.
Oh,
And that
yeah. Yeah, the only touch pads I felt like I could do a start on without slipping were those really sticky Colorado pads. Those ones
Mhm.
are just so nice. Like, they are so grippy. They're better now with the wedge. Honestly, I don't think the pad makes too much of a difference anymore, but,
Yeah.
back in the day, that was a real thing. Like, I was like, "Uh-oh."
It's a real thing. But anyway,
Yeah,
glad we have wedges now. It's
yeah.
That's great. So you obviously, like you said, you didn't execute the perfect race. You make the team in the 100 backstroke. You go back to training for the end of trials. And then tell me about training camp. How was that? Again, kind of knowing that you're just focusing on the 100 backstroke.
Sorry, my cats. Oh, they're good. I have a kitten, and he is super crazy and likes to attack my 17-year-old cat, and she does
Oh
not have
no.
it. But he's just really playful. He loves her. But they're good. Sorry. Anyways, uh, oh, training camp.
Training
Yeah, that
camp.
was it was really fun. I felt like the coaches did a really good job this year at making more people train with each other, and I was a little nervous about that at first because Braden told me about this idea they had, and I was like, "I don't know, like, I wanna do what I need to do right now," but it just kinda ended up being so that if you were doing something similar to someone else, you'd all group together and do it. But I
Mhm.
got to train with a lot of people I've never trained with, and it was really fun, and I felt like the team had a really good culture this year. I mean, I've never really I haven't been a part of that many teams, but this one was definitely my favorite as far as how I felt around everyone, and that was really special. Um, I think as a group, everyone was training really well, so I felt like it was gonna be a really good Olympics for the team just because everyone was kind of on fire and the attitudes were good. Like, it was just a really positive experience overall.
That's great to hear. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right? And obviously that's what you want to experience heading into potentially the biggest meet of your life.
Mhm.
Who did you end up training with that you hadn't trained with before?
There were some 100 speed practices in Raleigh that I did with, Simone Manuel, um, Caleb Dressel, Chris Giuliano, Luca Orlando, and, there was someone else. There were a few more. There were lots of people, and me and Tori trained together a few times too, because we usually room together at these things, and we're just good friends, and we did some 100 speed practices together, and that was really nice, and I trained with Luca a lot because he was, being watched over by Braden, but, that was really nice too. I've known some of these people from trips from a long time ago, so it's nice to be at our first Olympics together and train together. It's pretty special.
No kidding. Yeah, I mean, coming through the age group ranks with these people and then following it all the way to yeah, to an Olympics seems like a very unique experience. Was there anyone who surprised you at this training camp? I mean, obviously, you're all Olympians. Like you all swim really fast and train quite hard. But did you see anything that surprised you or really made you say, "Oh my gosh, that's pretty good"?
I think, hmm, one thing we were doing a kick set and I was next to Luca and I'm a pretty good kicker, so I thought I'd be, like, pretty close to him, and he just, like, dusted me, and I was so sad, but I was like, "Okay, I gotta be easier on myself. These people are, like, actually really, really amazing." So, yeah, that was a moment, for sure, but there were plenty of others. I can't really think of any, but I remember it was a common thing to be hearing, like, about other people's times in practice, and people were like, "Oh my god." But, yeah, there were some sets that, I remember that I don't even remember. There were lots of sets being talked about because of impressive things. It was going on everywhere.
Did you have any of those sets that where you impressed yourself?
Yeah, there were quite a few. I mean, I I think I get super nervous at the beginning of these camps because it's like training with new people. I just struggle with change sometimes. It's like I have an adjustment period, but I was really nervous to do like this set that felt like 200 work, but it was 100 speed practice. And but it went really well, and there was this one that Tori and I did together. It was like 650s on or 850s on 4 minutes or something like that. 6, I think. And, just as fast as you can go, suited up. And my first one was 27.4, and I held under 28s this is backstroke, for, like, 3, and then it kinda I think my slowest was like 28.8, but it really hurt. So after that set, I was like, "Oh, if that's what a 28.8 feels like, I'm coming back in a 28.8 my 100 back easily, like, no doubt." But yeah, it was, and Tori went really fast that day too. I don't remember what she went, but she said it was the fastest she's ever gone in that set, so yeah, good practices all around.
27.4 in practice?
Yeah, I was not expecting well, actually, I did think I would go that, but I was like, "Maybe. We'll just guess that," but it was really good for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you must have been feeling yourself, right? Is your best time 27.1?
Mhm. Yeah, I should've just suited up and did a 50 or just done a 50 from a start that day. I think I coulda gone a best time, but
That was from a
it was
push?
yeah, I know. It was good. I was like, I should've done 100 back that day, but no, that was a good day for sure. Made me
That's
feel good about my swimming.
no kidding. Yeah, I would imagine so. That you're,
Mhm.
you know, approaching world record speed. That always seems like a good day.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you have a good camp, sounds like. And then you get to Paris, and we heard quite a bit about just the village, the conditions of it, and I think this is fairly normal stuff at Olympics, right? It's like you're always going to have suboptimal conditions for the type of performance you're hoping to put up. I believe in
Mhm.
one way or the other. What did you think of the village as well as getting around and operating within the Olympic space before the competition started?
I mean, based on what I had heard from all the people who had been to the Olympics before, I had, like, super low expectations. I was like, "I'm not gonna sleep, I'm not gonna eat, this is gonna be really rough."
Yeah.
And but then I got there and I was like, "Okay, it's not as bad as I expected." And, our thankfully, our building was the closest to the entrance and the dining hall, so we were super lucky for that, and I feel like Team USA just gets such good treatment. Like, we really yes, the Olympics, it's, like, kind of a like, it's not ideal, you know? But for Team USA, we get treated so well, like, we have an advantage in that aspect. We had memory foam pads for our beds and air conditioning units in our rooms that worked really well, and we didn't have to walk that much, but, yeah, I mean, the dining hall was kinda scary. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like, huge crowds
Mm.
around food, and so I was like, oh my god. This is so funny. Um, Let me move him real quick. Oh my I don't even know how he got up there. Okay, I'll just let him do his thing. But,
Yeah, no worries.
um, there was one day where, I got, like, a bunch of chicken, and I was like, "Oh, finally, I got some chicken from the dining hall." And I just ate a lot of it without and then but I'm, like, really big into inspecting my chicken. I'm super paranoid that it's gonna be undercooked. And so I put this piece in my mouth, looked at it, and I realized it was raw, and I started freaking out, and I told the nutritionist, "I'm not sure how much raw chicken I just ate, but it could have been a lot, I don't know." And, they got the team doctor to come over to see me, and I was fine. It was all totally fine, but this was, like, 2 days before the 100 back, so I was freaking out. I was like, "No way I'm getting sick right now." Um, but it was fine, and you can't blame them for that really, because 'cause they're cooking for, like, thousands of people, and so it makes sense that some of the chicken might not be fully cooked. Like, that's fair, I understand. It was really upsetting though, and then ever since that moment, I was like, "I'm avoiding the dining hall when I can. I'm
Mhm.
eating in the USA swimming team room." But yeah, I mean, it it was in ideal conditions, but that's just how the Olympics are, and I do think Paris did a good job. I don't think it was that bad. I think, they did a good job hosting. The only other issue was that the buses at the beginning, I don't think they're quite ready for the amount of people going to the pool. The buses were
Mhm.
pretty small, and there was just these huge crowds. We were all going at the same time. Um, and you had to, like, sit on the buses, and it was a long bus ride, um, ranging from, like, 20 minutes to 2 hours for some people. My longest bus ride was 50 minutes, but I had some 25-minute ones in there. But it's just super unreliable at the beginning. It got way better, but the beginning was really rough in the bus situation.
Yeah, and obviously it's not ideal, but I also think they were just dealing with traffic, right? Which is something
Mhm.
that can't really be helped by
Yeah,
anyone.
I know, and I'm wondering, like, if it was like that in Paris. I hope LA is prepared for what's about to happen because that's gonna be insane.
A city known for terrible traffic, yeah.
Yeah, I
We will,
know.
we'll see, yeah. I agree. I hope they're prepared for that one.
Mhm.
But as you said, you get adjusted, you adapt, um, you don't get food poisoning, and then you have your race, the 100 back. You were 57.99 in prelims, 58.2 semis, 57.9 in finals, so extremely consistent. As you mentioned before, the prelim swim felt good. How were you feeling about it?
It was super weird because, well, 2 days before my 100 back, I did a stinger, and I
Mhm.
went so slow, like a second and a half slower than I'd been going in training camp, and I was like, "No, why now? What's happening?" And
No.
I know, like, I hadn't been going these times since in season, so I was really upset, and it took a lot for me to bounce back from that. Um, so I was super nervous for prelims because I had felt amazing, like, I felt really good when I got to Paris. I was like, "Wow, this is what I was wanting. This is how I wanted to feel." So I was surprised when I didn't go very fast. I think I was probably expecting it to be really easy to go what the time I wanted to go,
Mm.
and when it didn't happen, I was really mad. Um, but so prelims, I felt like I needed to go a little more aggressive than normal just because I was like, if this is my best right now, then I'm going to 59 at fastest. So I gotta like put in a little more energy into this race. And it was honestly so weird because it felt so easy. I never felt like I got tired. I got out of the pool and I was like energized, not out of breath. I mean, obviously a little out of breath, but I think I was just so nervous that it just carried me through the race, and I think it took a huge emotional toll on me to be that nervous for prelims, and I mean, ideally, I wouldn't go that hard in prelims, I didn't need to. I just didn't know that I could go that time right now. Um, so I honestly felt amazing after prelims, and it was really special because my whole family was sitting right where I got out of the pool. It was their best seats of the whole meet, it was prelims. But I felt like I won, like, that was it. I was like, "Oh my god, I just won. Here it is." It felt so good though, but,
Well, you
yeah, I
did.
mean,
You were top seed out of prelims, so
I won
you did win.
prelims. I did win. It was really cool too since I had, like, just racing another French person in the heat, the crowd was crazy for prelims. I've never heard such loud cheering for a race ever. It was crazy. They go crazy for their French swimmers. It's fair.
Which is awesome. I mean, I was rooting for French swimmers just because of the excitement and hype around them. Everyone I've talked to said the fans were amazing. I mean, that's what you want at any sporting event, but to have that in swimming, I'm guessing was pretty unique and really cool.
Yeah, it was super cool, and I thought French people were so nice. I'd heard the rumors that French people aren't super friendly, but every French person I met was so nice, like, rarely did I have a bad encounter. So, very impressed with France as a country. Great place.
Mark it down. French
Yeah,
people, nice.
yeah, they're great.
That's good to hear. It's always good to have a good experience just with the culture and the people. So then you win prelims. gold medal already from prelims and the 100 back. But then, as you said, you're a little tired. Yeah, you spend a little too much emotional energy, or a little more than you would have wanted. How do you then approach semifinals?
I tried to just match my time from prelims. Honestly, my start in prelims was so good. I was like, it was perfect. My turn was perfect. Like it was all great. Maybe not perfect, but it felt like it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so semifinals I just tried to match my time, but I really was not nervous for semis because I was like, I just need to repeat that or I can even go slower. It's fine. So I think and I kind of tightened up a little the last 15 meters and it was weird because it was a slower time. I was like, I don't really understand what's happening right now. Why did I just go slower?" But yeah, I just wasn't nervous, I think was the issue. Um, so I was fine with semifinals, maybe a little sad, but I was still feeling really confident about my race, just because prelims had been so good.
Yeah. And again, you were 58-2 there in the semi. You qualified third heading into the final. Did you feel good with where you were standing? And then over the next 24 hours, were you able to build confidence from that?
Yeah, I think after semis, I was a little upset because I prelims just felt so easy. I was like, "Oh my god, I could drop a ton of time in this event right now." Um, so I was a little mad when I went slower, but I was like, I think third going into finals is a really good position to be in. You have a little more time behind the blocks to stretch and stuff, which I like. Um, so that was nice. I was really happy about going in third. I think that's a really good spot. But yeah, my confidence did build as I got closer to it because I was like, I think I just felt like it was a really good position for me. So
So many athletes talk about the phenomena of U.S. Olympic trials being more stressful than the actual Olympics. Can you compare your experience from U.S. trials 100 back final to Paris Olympics 100 back final?
yeah, I would agree with that. I was the most nervous I've ever been in my life before that Olympic final at trials, and I think most of that was just, like, remembering the emotions from 3 years ago. That was, like I mean, not to be dramatic, slightly traumatizing. Just a horror like, I hated that. Not good. So I was like, "Do not wanna experience that again." Um, but yeah, so that was the worst nerves I've ever experienced. I don't think it'll ever happen again. I think that was it. I just needed to make the team. Now it's done. I've made it. But I was nervous for the Olympics, but I'd say I was most nervous for prelims just because I had gone so slow in my stinger. My confidence was at an all-time low, and I'd been so confident for the past 3 years. I'm like, this is like I'm doing it this year. This is my year. But after that stinger, I was so nervous. So I'd say at the Olympics, the most nerves I felt were for prelims, and then not nervous for semis, and then pretty nervous for finals, but it was super manageable.
And then how did that manifest? I mean, obviously you're 57-9 again in the final, 57-98. You dropped a hundredth from prelims.
Mhm.
You touched for bronze. How do you felt like that race went, though?
Um, it's honestly, it's tough. I I bet other Olympians experience this too. I haven't talked to too many people about this, but um, I wanted to win so bad. So when I got third, I was happy I medaled, but sad I didn't win. And I just felt like it wasn't my best performance with how well I had done in prelims. I felt like I had a lot of room to improve. I think what happened though is I spent too much energy just on prelims being so worked up over it, and right after finals, like, I got back to the hotel and I felt terrible, like, I got some sort of cold, but this happened to me at Budapest too after my 50 back. I think the nerves, just the crash of emotions, my immune system was down and I got sick. but I know the nerves were going crazy, so I'm sure it took an energetic toll on me too, just being that nervous, but, I was really like, my family talked me through it, and they made me really appreciate the experience that I had and that I just got a medal. Um, and I appreciate it so much more now, especially being home and, like, feeling the love from all my friends here and just people from Missoula who watched me, like, that I don't even know, and people coming up to me. It's really meant so much. So I think part of the issue is just being around so many other medalists, it doesn't feel that big. 'Cause it's like, there's a ton of other medalists on the team, and there's a bunch of gold medalists, like, and I didn't quite accomplish what I wanted to, so it was a tough moment for a little bit, like, just trying to really appreciate what had happened, but, I do think I'm in a much better state around it. I'm not sad anymore. I think it was a really good experience, and I am happy with what I did, um but it was, like, it's a little frustrating that I just can't be a little more happy. 'Cause I know it's awesome, but it was just frustrating for a minute, but I'm right now feeling good, happy, and excited for the new season.
I feel like that is the plight of being an elite athlete. I wouldn't know. I was never one, but from talking to a lot of them, you always want more, right? You're always setting these high goals and pushing yourself to achieve them. And I think that's how you end up having success and having success at the highest level. But then it can be challenging to appreciate what you end up accomplishing if it ends up falling short of those very, very lofty goals.
Mhm. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like I've always set super high goals, like, looking at my goals from when I was little, they I was, like, not touching these times that I had set, but I would always set goals like that, and so I feel like I've only really accomplished, like, truly accomplished my goals a couple times in my career, but I'm still like, I think it's super motivating for me because I still, like, wholeheartedly believe I can do what I want. It's just, it's really hard. It's so not easy, but, I think having really high goals is really important.
And again, I feel like that is a commonality with these high performing athletes you see, yourself included. But yeah, and I am very happy that it seems like we are now in a space that is much more embracing of having both of those things, of setting high goals and then also appreciating what you do end up achieving, whether it meets that goal or not. I don't feel like that was the case, but now it seems easier for just everyone as a society to make room for both. And I think that's a healthy way to approach sport.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like people from previous generations didn't realize the mental side of sports and just how emotionally taxing it is and how it can really benefit you physically to work on your mental health, and I think, that's something this generation is a lot better at.
Agreed. And speaking of that side of sport, you spoke about kind of the emotional crash after you after you finish the 100 back. I think that happens a lot after big meets or big events. You're just kind of like, your body's like, okay, I held out for as long as you needed me to. I'm taking a break now.
Mhm.
um, but obviously you still have to keep your head and body in the game because you have a medley relay to swim on, I don't, 4 or 5 days later, which seems like kind of a long time. How do you manage that portion of the meet?
I mean, it was super tough because I felt horrible, like, I don't know how it happened so fast, like, the timing was perfect. I got sick right after I raced, and even in the ready room, I was like, "My te chest is a little tight, but I think I'm just nervous." But then that night, I was, like, gone. But I was really scared to tell anyone because I didn't want them to take me off the prelims relay, even though and it's hard to really, stay super motivated when you know you're just on the prelims relay too. I mean, it's a big deal for sure, and I need to remember that, but I the finals relay is just different, and, so, I mean, obviously, it was really good that I didn't have to do the finals relay with the condition I was in the next day. I was like, "Oh god, it's a good thing I'm not on this one." But, I was just trying to stay, like, away from everyone, wear a mask, and swim when I can, and just keep it easy so that my body can recover so I can do 100 back and not die. And I was feeling much better the day of the prelims relay. I was like, "Okay, this is I feel like I can swim without having an asthma attack now, like, I'm good." But, I finished the race, I was like, "Oh, that was everything I had, that was done, like, my body is checked out, I'm ready for a break." So, it was that moment I was like, "Yeah, that was everything. I gave it all I had. It's all gone."
Do you remember what you ended up going on that prelims relay?
It was like a 58.9. I did my start again, I'm always back at the start. My start was actually really bad this time, it was not good, but it was a rough feeling at the end of that race.
I can imagine if you were, consistently going 58 low, 57 high, 58 9, probably doesn't feel good. However, it's a great prelim swim. I mean, you did your job.
Yeah, we did what we needed to do. They were set up really well for finals, so it was good.
Uh, what was it like? I'm sure it's a mix of things. As you said, the finals relay just comes with a different feel. But what is it like watching? I don't know where I in the stands or back at the village, but watching that relay do what it did in such a dominant fashion, and having the thought of I'm a gold medalist.
It's weird because it's, like, really amazing and so exciting because it's like, "Wow, now I have a gold medal too." Um, but I get serious FOMO. Like, I'm like, "Oh, I wanna be there so bad." Like, I wish that was me up there. But, I think it's also really motivational because, something I've thought about is, like, 3 years ago, going into Olympic trials, I was a contender to make the 100 backstroke in like, the team. But it wasn't, like, a favorite, I was just a contender. And I mean, some people would probably argue they don't think I was a contender for the gold, but in my mind, I was, and I really, like, felt like I could do it. But it wasn't like I felt like I should do it. It was like I'm one of a few who could. But, I think this whole experience and just not feeling the confidence I had been feeling for so long just gave me motivation to feel like going into the next few summers, I wanna feel like I'm really like, this is my time. But yeah, I mean, it's super motivational and super special to see that moment for them because it is so amazing. They got a world record and a gold medal, and just seeing their emotions was really special. And they all swam so fast. So it was crazy, like just the perfect relay. So I was super happy for them. It's hard because you want to be out there, but I really like everyone who is on that relay. So I'm just really glad that they did so well.
Yeah, it it's it's fun to hear about this leveling up process. I am guessing that's kind of the trend or direction you want from an athletic career, but also you're just like building blocks, right? Like it's like a learning curve where you're always kind of adding and adding and adding. And I feel like with something like that, if you were to stagnate, then that might be problematic. But it seems like you're continuing to grow and continuing to build on that athletic confidence.
Mhm. Little baby steps.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Um, so the medley relay gold medal, your meet's over. Did you go directly home? Did you stay in Paris at all, or did you take vacation at all outside of that?
Yeah, Me and my some of my family, we went up to the French Alps. We went to Lake Annecy, and that was amazing, like, so up my alley. I'm trying to plan my next trip back there because it was seriously so amazing. But, yeah, I wish I got a little more time in Paris. We stayed in the French Alps for, like, 3 days, and, the last night before we went home, we spent the night in Paris so we could be closer to our flight, out, and we went out to dinner, and I got breakfast the next day in Paris. We were staying kinda near the Arc de Triomphe, so that was really cool. But yeah, one of the days I wasn't competing, I went to the Louvre, and that was really cool, but like, we barely scratched the surface. We were there for 4 hours and probably didn't even see a tenth of it. It was huge, but my feet were tired. I was tired, so I was but it was really cool. I wanna go back to Paris someday for sure.
Yeah, I talked to someone and they were going back for the Paralympics and they're like, yeah, I get to be just like a tourist this time, like I'm just going as a fan. I get to like see Paris a little bit. And that seemed exciting. It's kind of odd going to all these cool places for swim meets and then not really even getting to see much of it.
I know, it's super weird. I feel like I've traveled so much but seen so little.
It's a
It's
great way to put
annoying.
it. it's,
Yeah.
it's annoying. I
Yeah, it
want to see
is.
more.
Me too. Yes, I do. It's okay though.
Yeah, it's okay. You'll get there. You've got time.
Oh, yeah, for
So
sure.
so you're back in you're in Montana now. You'll be there for a few more days, and then is it back to Raleigh? And how is that feeling knowing that you're pro now?
It's really nice. I mean, I I like having a routine and being busy. I think it holds me accountable. Um, but I like swimming better than school, and it'll be nice to just fully focus on swimming. And I've got Ryan White. I mean, I'm not sure if there are any more pros coming this year. There might be, but me and Ryan are really good friends, and Kennedy Noble too. Our backstroke crew is really crazy, and we've got a few younger girls on the team who are gonna be crazy to train with too. But I'm super excited to get back. I miss my friends from NC State, and I'm actually so excited to be swimming again. I'm sure I will not be in a couple months, but right now I'm super eager to get back in the water.
Well, Catherine, I hope that goes well for you. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and break down your experience in Paris with us. Oh my God, I almost forgot. Olympic tattoo. You
Oh
got ink.
yeah.
You can you just tell me about because you got it with your dad? Is that right?
Mhm.
Um, what is that? What was that like?
It was so cool. Like he I don't know if getting a tattoo is not really a thing when he was a swimmer. I feel like it wasn't as much of a thing. But yeah, he I don't even remember when this came up, probably a couple years ago, but he was like, "If you get the tattoo, I'll get it with you." So, we got it together this summer, and his is pretty much in the same spot as mine, maybe a little further this way.
Hmm.
Mine looks better, no offense. I mean, it's just I feel like the older you get tattoos, the less it's gonna work because
Hmm.
your skin's just not the same. But um, yeah, it's pretty cool having a matching tattoo, and I'm glad he was able to get it. It was kind of freaky, like I've never gotten one before, but the feeling was kind of nice. Like I kind of want another one now.
Oh no, you've got the bug.
I know I do, but I don't know what to get, so I'm not going to. It's fine.
Smart, dude. That's so real. I mean, this is like a real phenomena. Once you get one tattoo, you're like, oh man, I want more.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It is, especially I have a few tattoos, but I hate getting tattooed. I mean, to me, it feels terrible. But I have friends who enjoy the process of getting tattooed. They enjoy the gun
Yeah.
vibrating on their skin, and I can't relate to that.
Yeah, no, I think some places are worse than others. I've heard the arm is pretty easy, so it really didn't hurt. It felt weird, but I kinda liked it, but I think I would probably hate the other spots. Like, calf, I've heard is terrible. I'm not
Mm.
gonna get one there.
No calf tattoos. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-mm.
there's so much flesh and muscle, and yeah, that's rough.
Mhm.
Um, is is did your father pass down any Olympic wisdom to you, or do you feel an extra bond there now that you've continued this Olympic legacy in the Berkoff household?
He was definitely the reason I ever considered swimming at the Olympic level. I don't think I'd be where I am without that motivation for sure, and I was really lucky to have, Olympic connections at such a young age since my dad coached, David Cromwell, who he didn't make the Olympic team, but he was close. He was, a backstroker as well, and he trained professionally at Texas for a few years, so he became friends with Aaron Pearsall and them, and they used to come up to Missoula and do clinics with our team, and so Aaron would, like, stay in our house, and we ended up becoming good friends with him, and he came on, like, some family ski trips with us, and then, he's been calling me and helping me through the Olympic experience, and his advice was just have fun, so I've been super lucky to have, like, a legendary connection like that, feeling like someone pretty cool is on my side, um, but it's been nice to have those connections through my dad. I'm definitely very lucky.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that, but that is really cool, and to have so many different influences, like, yeah, I remember David Cromwell, and obviously remember Aaron Pearsall as well, and wow, the backstroke lineage of of the Berkoffs runs deep.
It does. I know. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Um, we are so once again, I appreciate you coming on, Catherine. Last thing, you're partnered with Arena. I'm wondering what that partnership has meant to you, especially having gone through your first Olympic Games in Paris.
It's been super nice. I mean, I I feel like I'd feel a little lost if I didn't have them. It's nice to have a group of, like, athletes that are on the same team as me, aside from the US team, and I they give me so much stuff and treat me so well, so I'm really lucky to be partnered with them. I really appreciate all they do, so it's been really nice.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.